This is the Best or Worst podcast. And now, here are your hosts, Koji Stephen Sakai and M. Martin Mapoma.
Hey guys, welcome. This is the Best or Worst podcast. I am Martin.
And I'm Koji.
All right, and this is episode number 51. We are talking with DC. Our earlier episode on Tuesday, we talked to him about, we just got to know him. And today, we're going with the best or worst. So, our society is so focused on celebrity, we sometimes forget that regular people lead interesting lives too. Best or worst podcast. Best or worst moment of your life? Oh God, I always do this. Best or worst moment of your life? Host Koji Stephen Sakai and M. Martin Mapoma are here to let your story out. We put people on the spot. What are you going to hear? It could be funny. It could be poignant. It could be sad. You'll know when we know. Best or Worst podcast is now a twice weekly podcast. On Tuesdays, we get to know our guest, and on Thursdays, we find out about their best or worst moment. And so we are back again today with DC. We talked to him earlier, had a lot of fun catching up with him. DC is a personal trainer and an actor. And so are we going to go right into this, Koji?
Yeah, we're going right into it. So
do
we want to hear his best or his worst moment?
That's what I was going to ask you.
Okay.
Again, it's this whole goddamn COVID thing. I always want to hear the best because I'm sure people have plenty of.
We can't keep asking people their best moments. Let's ask DC his worst moment because I'm kind of curious to hear his worst moment anyway. So
yeah,
is that okay?
Yeah, it's fine with me.
Okay, so DC, we're gonna ask you your worst moment, and just to keep in mind, one of the things we always tell people about their best or worst moment is that don't pick something like your best moment being the time you met your significant other, because obviously if I'm not sure if you're married or not, but say you were. That's obviously a really great moment, and or having kids or your parents dying as a bad moment. But
those are too easy.
Yeah, those are too easy. We're really looking for something that's a little bit more unique and different because we all have those moments as well. So DC, we want to hear your worst day or moment.
All right, worst moment.
So you don't want anything to what?
I mean,
those are the only rules. It can be
those are the only rules. Anything really that
it can be super bad. Doesn't matter.
Or could be one of those moments as well, unless if those moments have something different or something that's unique about it, then we definitely would love to hear it.
All right. Well, this is hard for me because I thought about this since you sent me that email, and how do you define that? You define that in the moment, or define that how much of an impact it has on your life and how much you reflect back on that. I looked at that in terms of the best of the moment. And how that impacted not just that moment, but throughout the rest of your life or post that. And then I looked at the worst moment and how that impacts. And for worst moment, I don't know if this falls in the category of what you said not to.
Yeah, no, just do what you think is best.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my worst moment would be 2014 in December. I got diagnosed with colon cancer. And it was, as far as a moment goes, it was one of those things where leading up to that, I was working a lot. I was what they call ramping at Equinox. And that means you're a new trainer and you have to go through all these classes, meetings, and build your business and all this stuff. So it was really stressful. You're looking at least 30 to 40 hours a week being there, not having clients necessarily. And I had a manager who was just a pain in the ass and really hard and pushing hard. And I got sick, and a lot of people do because it's high stress, a lot of time that you have to put in. And I got sick, and I didn't know the extent of it. And one of my clients had suggested I see her husband, who's a doctor, because she didn't think I looked real well. So I went and get tests and did blood work, found out I was anemic, I was losing blood. I thought I was losing weight just because I was working out a lot and I was working a lot and things like that. So I went to the hospital and they did a procedure. They went in, and I remember coming to and waking up in the hospital room. And the doctor, who was my client, they're actually both my clients, but my client's husband was there. And I've known them, I think at that time they were training with me like 4 or 5 years already. So I've known them a while personally too. And he was just standing at the end of the room at the foot of my bed, just looking at me, and he didn't look good.
Oh,
and I didn't think at that time, like that wasn't the first thing that went into my head, it would be cancer, I just thought that maybe I had a problem with liver, kidneys, or something, you know what I mean? Like, because I was in really good shape. I was working out a lot. I was eating great. I'm always been pretty good at eat what I eat, with the exception of fried chicken. But when I saw his face, I knew something was up, and I said, well, what's going on? So we found a tumor the size of a grapefruit that's enveloped your intestine, and we need to have it removed. And I was like, what? How does that happen? And he was like, it's one of those things we don't know. We just mark it as hereditary, because cancer, everyone thinks that they understand it, but they really don't, to an extent of how some people contract it. Obviously, there are obvious ways, right? Like if someone smokes a lot, they're susceptible to lung cancer and things like that. But there's a hereditary issue that you just don't know. You could just got it from someone that you don't know, And when he told me that it was cancer and they had to operate, it was one of those things where my whole world just fell away. Like everything, I didn't hear anything, I didn't see anything. It felt like I was in the middle of a black space. And it felt really surreal, because it's one of those things you see in movies you don't expect to happen to you,
Yeah.
And it's very cliche and everything. But the thing that I always remember is the look on his face, and he was scared, and he started tearing up. And he told me that he's never had to tell that to someone that he knew. His doctor's relationships are always people that you come in contact with, your patients, whatever. You try not to get close. Yeah. But for him, it was a tough one. It was a tough one for him to tell me, and he felt he had to tell me, not because he wasn't the surgeon, because he does general practice. So he wasn't the one who went in and did the tumor and all that. He was just there as kind of a courtesy. Yeah. And he felt he needed to be the one to tell me. So yeah, that was a tough moment for me. It was really hard. It was one I'll never forget.
And how did that affect you in terms of like thinking back at that moment? How did it affect you moving on forward in your life?
It's funny because I thought it would. So the months after, the year after that, I was doing chemo for a year, and it was one of those things where you're just swimming not to drown. You don't even think about it, right? You're just doing it. You're letting people stick things into you. I had a catheter put into my chest, like things that I just seemed so unnatural that you just submit and let things happen. And so for that year, I didn't really think about things. I just kind of let things happen. Once I was finished with chemo, and a couple months later I got remission, I thought that it would change me in terms of wanting to do things that I'd never done, because I think people talk about having a life-threatening experience that makes you either change your perspective on life, things like that. And it did in the sense of, it didn't drive me more. What it did is it made me try and appreciate people more. And I think that I didn't do that before. I think that it made me understand people's experiences better that I couldn't relate to too. Have a little bit more empathy than I had previously. Not saying that I didn't have empathy, but I usually didn't think of sick people as a thing. Like it was just sick people, it doesn't affect me, Yeah. Where now is like, it got me involved with like suicide hotline prevention. It got me involved with just trying to listen a little bit better, I think.
Were you suicidal?
No. Okay. I had a friend that was. I had a lot of depression when I was younger. And it's funny because I thought that my depression would get worse because of this, and it didn't actually. I just kind of, it didn't really enter my head.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I know someone else went through the same thing. He was depressed, and then he found out that he had cancer, and he said it was like a wake up call. Like, whoa, wait a minute. That's what it did for him. He went all in with his treatment, and he said it actually helped him with his depression. So hearing you say that's just interesting. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's
So
No, it's fine.
when you
cancer, man.
when you went through the cancer, I mean, so you got, did you ultimately have to do the surgery, or was it just through chemo that you
Yeah.
got?
So I had to do surgery. So I remember it was crazy because I think I was
You
taken
had
to the
meds?
hospital
No, go. I'm listening. Sorry.
like the middle of December, the 15th or something. I was admitted, and they did the test. They did a endoscopy and a colonoscopy, and found the tumor. And they said that they needed to get out as soon as possible. So I was in the hospital for about almost 10 days trying to get them to figure out if they're going to be able to do it before Christmas. And they weren't able to do it before Christmas. So I got released and admitted like a couple days after Christmas.
Did you have any symptoms at all?
I did, but there are symptoms that I attribute to work stress and everything, like I was losing a lot of weight. I felt like I was looking good, but the thing that kind of alarmed me a little bit was, and I don't want to get into too many gross things, whatever, but in terms of like intestinal and things like that, right? I just didn't know. I didn't know what things were supposed to be and what they weren't. I just thought it had to do with my diet. So I started cutting things in my diet, and my diet became very specific, and then it would clear up. So I thought I was okay. There was maybe like one instance when I was doing squats, and after I did like a 5x5, I got super lightheaded and I thought I was gonna pass out. And I had no idea why that was, right? Comes to find out that when they discovered I was anemic, I had more normal people wouldn't have been able to walk around. I had like half the blood in my body, almost close to half the blood in my body than I was supposed to. And they said normal people wouldn't be able to function. For some reason, because of your physical state, you're able to function and push on.
Was that because? Go ahead.
Because of the tumor, so I was losing blood through my intestine, and I didn't know what that was. I thought that was diet and things like that. You know what I mean? Because I didn't really understand.
Was the tumor taking the blood? Was the tumor feeding off the blood? Is that what was happening?
No, I mean the blood was being expelled, but I didn't recognize that as, you know what I mean? Because I didn't know. My idea of blood is like bright red blood, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And after all this happened, I realized that what was coming out was actually blood, and I didn't realize it because I thought it was dietary. Like I thought it was, because it's not. What comes out as blood, you don't think is blood. You know what I mean? That's without getting too.
No, that's totally fine. Yeah.
So when so you went through this whole thing, and does it affect the way you deal with because I know you're a personal trainer. We talked about that last episode. Does it affect the way you interact? Has it affected the way you interact with your clients, or has it changed anything?
I think it has. I think it has to the extent of I'm a little bit more patient. Not that I wasn't patient, but I'm a very hard trainer in terms of like expectations and push and drive, and I usually only gravitate towards clients who want that. I'm not someone that can work with someone that wants to be lazy.
That's being a smart trainer. In my years, you're a smart trainer. I have really changed. I don't take on every client that comes in the door. Yeah. I sit down with them and I talk to them, and if I can see that they're going to push back even a little bit, I'm like, you probably want to find someone else. Because at my age, I don't have time for clients who are like, well, I'm not going to give this up, or I'm not going to give that up, or
right.
And I just move on.
Yeah, I had that conversation because I said I don't want to waste your time. You know what I mean? I'm not. There are trainers who just. I mean, I've had clients before who just want to socialize, and that's why they have a trainer. And that's not me, because for me, it's about getting results. You're going to pay me money. I'm not going to take your money. You're going to pay me money to get your results, and that's what I'm doing. I'm getting your results. If you don't want to get results, then you're wasting my time and your time. I don't want to do that. That's not why I'm doing it. And I think that drive is also because of health. It's because of I view health as such an integral part. One of my greatest analogies for getting people to be consistent is saying, you commute to work. Let's say you commute 25 miles each way to work, right? You're going to get that car checked up. You're going to get the oil change. You're going to do all that maintenance in that car so that car doesn't break down. We don't do that to our bodies. We're in our bodies every single day. You need to start taking account of that and consider your body a vehicle, because your body, once it breaks down, is going to be a lot worse than getting a new car or having to replace parts in a car. And that's the one thing I try and get people to understand is as me being a good example, no matter how well you can be in good shape or everything, you have to be able to catch curveballs. Because if I wasn't in good shape at the time when I got diagnosed,
Ooh.
I probably would be dead.
Yeah, that's so true. I know so many people just like that who are like their health saved them in so many ways. Yeah, I mean, it's so, cancer, man, is it's hit or miss. You could be healthy all your life and still get cancer, or you could be Keith Richards, who drinks and smokes and does drugs his entire life, and is completely fine.
So
what?
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, there's so many people out there. Like you said, living a healthy life is always a good thing. But it's not a guarantee that you're not going to get something. And DC, you're a perfect.
So be better prepared. You know what I mean? Is my point.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
So one of the things that you talked about was that I found really interesting is, you said you didn't have, like, you weren't going to have a bucket list of things you wanted to do or do, but at the end of everything, when I assume it went into remission and everything's fine now, right?
Yeah. So it's 6 to 8 years, as they say.
Yeah.
For remission that they
keep checking you and stuff.
Yeah, there's a 60% chance it comes back, is what they say.
Yeah.
So that's why, going forward, I mean, I'm very in tune, and I've kind of been, but even more so very in tune with nutrition and things like that now.
Yeah.
Because especially with that type of cancer, what you take in your body is going to affect that, because your body has to process that, things like that. I rarely drink anymore. I rarely eat red meat anymore. Once in a while, I eat a lot more vegetables than I use, things like that.
Yeah.
Just to ensure dietary.
So did you end up doing anything bucket listy, or has that changed your view of trying to do something that you needed to do because you were worried about
bucket listy? Because I'm not a type of person who needs to do something in a sense of something grandiose, I guess. But in terms of, I look at life as more of a, because I'm also a poker player, right? So I look at life in terms of a grind, right? You're going through you take day by day. Try not to look at the end of that race. Try and take each moment day by day. So one of the things that I've really since then have tried to make sure I do is try to surf a lot more, right? I got into surfing huge when I moved out here, and then I didn't do it for a long time. And surfing is one of the things that really helped me in terms of humility, exercise, peace of mind, calming. So ever since then, like this year has been really great. I've tried and surf at least 4 times a week when there's surf. And there was a period of time when I didn't surf once a season, so something like that is what I've done in terms of, I guess, a bucket list, where I'll set a goal for myself, say, this is what I want to do because it helps me for this reason, and try and stick to that plan.
Yeah.
You live near the beach?
Great.
No, I'm in Alhambra, South Paso.
Wow. Okay.
So I have a little bit of a drive.
You're in my hood. We're in the same hood.
Yeah.
I mean, it like my wife, she went through pretty bad cancer for a while, and it changed our perspectives on everything. In terms of, for us, it was, realizing, because both my wife and I work a lot, and we didn't go on vacation. We pushed off vacations because we're like, we're young, relatively young at the time. And so we really realized that we needed to take vacations. We needed to spend some time together and not like keep pushing it off and kind of doing it. And I know for her, she's scared every time that she gets like sick a little bit. It's we're worried that it's gonna come back at some point in the future. But yeah, this has been.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it too, Coach, is it's almost like you're always looking in your rearview mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Every little thing that is just a little off, like this whole COVID thing. I'm sure with her too. It really worries me because I don't know if I'm more susceptible than someone else or not.
Yeah.
It could be because also when I was doing chemo, I had pneumonia, so that my respiratory system, is not the greatest. Probably is not the ideal situation for this virus. So I've been very conscientious of not being in public spaces. I only go out to the market. That's it. I walk my dogs and I don't interact with anyone. So it's also been a little weird because the only people I really get to see is the cashier at the market, probably like once a week. So it's been a safety first type thing,
Yeah.
That's good.
My wife feels the same way in terms of she's very conscientious about going out, whereas I'm constantly running around and doing a lot of stuff outside. I mean, I'm not, I'm walking with a mask or I'm doing things, but I'm much more I need to get out of the house. I need to do things.
Yeah, that's Koji.
Yeah.
I'm like you, D. For me, I'm a homebody. I hate to leave my house, and so I always tell Koji that I feel like I've been training for this moment my whole life. I said,
Well, I mean, I like being outside, don't get me wrong. Like, that's why surfing, so that's why there's different things that I have to do in order to maintain sanity in a sense.
Yeah.
That's why surfing is great, because surfing is a social distancing sport.
Yeah.
I get to be in the water. I get to be in the sun,
Yeah.
I see dolphins. Like, it's everything that
Sharks?
you could. I don't want to talk about this. Like one of my biggest fears.
Me too, man. That's one of the reasons why I don't surf, because I have an unhealthy fear of sharks.
Well, it's so funny that
I
you
have
talk.
such a fear of sharks that when I used to swim in a pool when I was a kid, I'd be afraid a shark would get me in the pool.
How the
bad my
hell
fear
are
of
you
sharks
surfing then, dude?
Exactly.
How are you surfing?
You just
I don't know sometimes.
you just don't think about it.
Oh, I would.
Try not to, but there are plenty of times that I'm out there and the water's getting a little dark, and I'm like,
Oh no,
I don't feel very comfortable right now.
Yeah.
No way.
But
dude.
it's funny because when you're talking about surfing, it reminded me of how I feel about it, because I do Brazilian jiu-jitsu now. And it's like, to me, it's the same. I mean, like, I don't know why Martin's laughing, but to me, it's like, it's similar in that it really, I always say when we were kind of, we're not practice right now, but when we were practicing, it was like literally the best thing I was doing all week. Cause it really it'd get me, it get me out of my head. First of all, like if I'm angry before jujitsu or sad before jujitsu, by the end, I'm not thinking about it, because if I'm thinking about, something that's making me sad and then I do jujitsu, I'm going to just get my butt kicked. And it's humbling for me because most of the people were way better than me. And then the other thing is it just helped like all my exercises a lot more, because now when I go to the gym, I have something to work out for, right? I'm not like, I want to be stronger. I want to be faster, especially when I'm fighting some of these younger kids.
Coachy's feeling like a badass.
No, I'm just,
Where do you go at?
No.
I was thinking about
going
to there, but my concern is, rolling and stuff like that.
Now you can't do it right now, but in the,
okay.
I'm talking about in the future when we do it back. Right now, me and my son are just, we just spar right now at home, but
where were you going before, locally?
Yeah, in Pasadena. It's called ZR is the place.
We were supposed to start together, and Koji started ahead of me, and now he's a blue belt, and I'm still a white belt. But he's right. I mean, I was.
You did it for a month, dude.
No, I did. No. But that's my point, though. And then COVID hit. That's what happened to me.
Yeah.
But it's funny because after like my fourth class, I felt like I could be a hostage negotiator.
Wait, what?
No, so I posted this video of a guy. It's a video. It's a video of I think it's in Israel, where this guy has a kid. He's holding hostage. He has a gun, and they're behind this van. They're in front of this van, and one of the soldiers, special forces guy, runs and just dives over the van on top of the guy and tackles him and gets the kid away and everything. And I posted that picture, and then I wrote at the bottom, me after my fourth class of jiu-jitsu. Because it was empowering. Jiu-jitsu has been very, for Koji, he's all in. But I can tell you, after my 3 or 4 classes, I was like, wow. I see why people like doing it. It's really addictive. Yeah. And the camaraderie is great. I mean, they're so helpful with you. The instructors are so helpful. We have a great group, though. We're really lucky. We're really lucky to have the guys we have training us, because they're all world champions. And they don't hand off the class to some purple belt or blue belt to teach you. They actually,
or white belt.
Yeah, or a white belt.
But all right, well, I think we're at the end of the episode. So thank you so much, DC. Thank you, Martin. This episode, we're asking people to call our voicemail and to tell us their best or worst moment. And if we like your best or worst moment, we'll invite you onto the show. Please keep your best or worst to like 30 seconds though, because honestly, I have a really short attention span. I'm not going to listen to your 20-minute voicemail.
Lord,
the phone number is 626-427-7436. I know I said that really fast, so I'll put that in the show notes below.
Say it one more time.
Well, I'll put it on the show notes. Don't worry. So I'll put it on the show notes. I'll put it on our Facebook page. I'll put it on our website as well, www.bestorworstpod.com. So thank you so much, GC. That was really powerful. It made me really it made me appreciative of kind of, it reminded me of what my family went through, and it was always it was a very very challenging time for us. So thank you for making sure that I remember kind of what we went through, because I do think it was important, and it really did change our lives. And thank you, Martin.
Of course.
Thank you, DC, and everyone have a great day or night whenever you're watching.
Guys.
Peace out.
Tell a friend.